Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and I'm bringing you some insane news today that can affect every single one of you. Everyone at the end of this crisis will know at least a few people that are homeless. And I wanted to go into this story, as it says out of CNBC, looming evictions may soon make 28 million homeless in U.S., expert says. And we are going to go into Zero Hedge shortly to break this insane story down, do some math, and explain the magnitude of this level of homelessness caused by massive amounts of deferring on rent and deferring on mortgages and not paying because people don't have any money. We're going to get into that and more, but first make sure to hit that like button. Join us on the alternative social medias, including Flote.app, BitChute, and Library. People are getting deleted off of YouTube en masse. We were completely demonetized, and we will probably be off of YouTube very soon. Join us on the other social media networks now. We need you guys there as soon as possible. Make sure to check those links below. Join our new newsletter at www.iamband.com, as well as check out ways that you can fund us because we are completely viewer funded. So all those links are below. Anyway, let's get into this insane news. As it says out of Zero Hedge, 28 million more Americans could wind up homeless due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And before we get into the article itself, let me just point out the math here. I did a little bit of sleuthing here, and currently there are 552,830 homeless people in the United States. Well, that would add up to about 17 in 10,000 people. Now, if you add 28 million to that mix, you have 28,553,000 homeless people out of 328 million people. That's 8.7% of the population, and round up to 9 out of 100 people in the U.S. being homeless. And we're going to get into some more math there and how this is going to affect people. But anyway, as this article says, the threat of looming evictions could result in 28 million people being homeless in the U.S. as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, one expert contends. Emily Benfer, who has spent her career representing homeless families, was recently interviewed by CNBC, where she went into detail about what could be a stark reality for homelessness in the country as a result of the coronavirus, or government, you might want to correct her there. She is currently, as it continues, she is currently the chair of the American Bar Association's Task Force Committee on Eviction and co-creator of the COVID-19 Housing Policy Scorecard with the Eviction Lab at Princeton University. And I quote, "We have never seen this extent of eviction in such a truncated amount of time in our history," Benfer said when asked about how the current homeless crisis compares to the 2008 housing crisis. She continued, "We can expect this to increase dramatically in the coming weeks and months, especially as the limited support and intervention measures that are in place start to expire. About 10 million people over a period of years were displaced from their homes following the foreclosure crisis in 2008. We're looking at 20 million to 28 million people in this moment between now and September facing eviction." And as it continues, she says, she also noted that evictions could have a negative effect on people's health, stating that evictions cause more respiratory distress and increase mortality. Since the main way to combat the virus has been to shelter in place, evictions could lead to a quicker spread of the virus, Benfer said. Now, obviously, staying inside and suppressing your immune system when you're dealing with a virus, which, again, viruses are dead exosomes that go into your system, corrupt your system, cause your immune system to attack themselves. You need a strong immune system for it, so staying inside doesn't do that, so there's a little bit. But there's definitely going to be a health crisis if people are all on the streets homeless. I mean, and this is absolute monetary terrorism that we're witnessing here. This is horrible because, again, we can blame the coronavirus, but this isn't the coronavirus that shut down the economy and it will largely kill far more people than the actual virus itself. The shutdowns are absolutely dramatically dangerous for the public. I'm going to get into some more reasons why they're doing this, what this will lead to, and how we've been lied to in a moment. But continuing on with the article, it says, with regard to individual state moratoriums on evictions, Benfer says that as soon as they run out, sheriffs are just waiting to execute evictions. And I quote, "The moment the moratoriums lift, all of those families will be immediately put out. And right now, 29 states lack any state-level moratoriums against evictions." She continued, and I quote, "Some of the moratoriums are limited to different segments of the population and in their duration. They were also not coupled with financial assistance to ensure that renters don't accrue this backed up debt and are stabilized enough to stay in their unit. And we see that chart there. Renters are more concerned than homeowners about losing housing. And I want to make a point here. What's going to happen is banks are going to seize all the houses. Like most houses are going to be owned by banks suddenly, and then governments are going to allocate those houses from the crashing bankrupt banks, all those assets. And then what they're going to do is they're going to start giving out free housing, and everyone's going to say, yay, government, thank you so much for helping me. It's a perfect situation because then you have communism, complete control of private property, which we already see to a great extent today with a lot of these. Now, obviously, we don't want people to be evicted in this time when the government has caused this problem, but the fact that governments have been able to restrict homeowners from doing what they want with their own property, especially with the renting situation, this is how they do it. They come in, they create a problem, and then they come in as a solution to that problem with financial assistance and all this stuff, so you can praise them and say, what would we do without you? Well, I don't know, maybe don't cause the freaking problem in the first place. Again, this coronavirus situation, we have to remember we were originally told 3.5 to 7% death toll, and then we found out from a recent CDC study that showed that it's actually a 0.26% death toll, and if you take out nursing homes, it's 0.2%. If you take out people over 50, it's 0.1%. If you consider all asymptomatic cases, if you have the virus, the chances of dying are 0.04%. And now, generally for everyone, it's 0.002% chance of dying from the virus. Those are CDC numbers, guys. So to shut the economy down over this is absolutely fraudulent and is destroying millions of lives. Imagine the amount of people, every single one of you, if not you yourself, are going to be homeless from this crisis, or know somebody who's homeless in this crisis. I mean, and they continue to say we'll be pushing off the opening up of the economy. Every time things start to open, they say, oh, look, we didn't test for months, but hey, suddenly we tested 100,000 people at once, and wow, look at that. Cases have gone up. I mean, we are being pushed around and played with right now, folks. We are being played with. We are being used as pawns to sacrifice for the king and the queen. And then we get dependent. We beg for help. And the government happily comes in and says, we'll help you figure out the situation that we caused. It's not the coronavirus shutdown. It's a government shutdown. And we must understand this. And I want to move on to another article here that says, report, 300,000 Nevadans could face eviction when moratorium expires. Now, I live currently in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm bouncing around. I'm nomadic. I'm kind of homeless right now because I got demonetized. But nonetheless, I'm one of those people. Hey, Willie, look at that. But anyway, this is insane what this is going to do. I mean, first of all, as you could probably see at the top of the screen at this moment, it's actually cooler than the last couple of days, but it's 106 Fahrenheit in Las Vegas, Nevada, and 300,000 people being out of their house, and with the recent restrictions on homelessness that the Las Vegas government put into play, where they've actually banned people camping outside as homeless. Like, where are you supposed to go? They're going into massive enclosed cages, basically, especially with the coronavirus, and being basically used like cattle. It's an image out of Nazi Germany, honestly. And let's look at this issue in a nutshell. Let's look at the numbers. Nevada population, 3.08 million people. 300,000 more homeless on top of the 7,169 people already homeless. That equals 10% of the population would be homeless in Nevada. 10%. So you have 9% national average, 10% in Nevada. 1 in 10 people homeless. What's the excuse? Coronavirus. How many people does the coronavirus kill? Not anywhere close to what we're told, but we have no excuse anymore, but we are still accepting this. Everyone's out of work. No one could pay for anything. Airbnb is going under because they can't, no one's renting, no one's going on vacation. So then those homeowners are going to have to defer on their mortgage. And once they defer on their mortgage, the banks come and take their house. And once the banks take their house, the government's going to do some kind of relief plan. That relief plan will include the government taking ownership over these private properties and giving out free homes. And then everyone says, thank you very much, government. And then we don't realize that we just walked into a communist hellhole where we don't have private property anymore. It's so obvious what's happening, but people are completely brainwashed. I mean, people will repeat everything on television, just accept it as true. They'll shelter in place, quote unquote, stay in their home, not move, destroy their immune system, walk around with a mask on that doesn't actually do anything, like these cloth masks which get dirty and germs stuck in it. Just again, restrict your immune system. You're not allowed to walk down the street by yourself in Las Vegas in 115-degree heat without a mask on. I mean, it's... How are people putting up with this? In New Mexico, I had to drive right through because they were pulling everyone over who wasn't driving by themselves with a mask on, by themselves, citing these people, which is totally unconstitutional, by the way, and then telling people they cannot stop if they're from out of state to like stop at a hotel. So I'm falling asleep at the wheel going through the mountains trying to get to Arizona so I don't pass out on the wheel. They close all the rest stop. They put pylons on the side of the road. I mean, guys, this isn't about the virus, this is about control. That's why they were arresting people right from the beginning for swimming in the ocean. That's why there's cops without masks on beating people up for not wearing masks. This has nothing, this is the Gestapo, my friends. And we're not even allowed to talk about this on YouTube. We got demonetized for this reason. But all these lies are coming out and people are so comfortable in their slumber, they don't want to think that they've been lied to. And it's uncomfortable to say or speak out or be resistant to this in any way because people yell at you and call you selfish and psychotic and stupid and low IQ and all that kind of stuff with all these stupid articles coming out. If you dare to resist any of this. So what are we going to do? Millions of homeless people? I mean, that's going to kill way more people than the virus. The health crisis that'll come from all those homeless people being on, all those families, kids on the street. Oh, but the government will take care of you. You'll be completely under the grip of the government. And again, this is what also annoys me. The people on the Trump side who would usually be rising up against all this stuff, they're sitting on their hands saying there's a plan in place and everything's going to be fine. It doesn't look fine to me. And remember, what is the middle class? The middle class is debt. The middle class is made up mostly, what's left of it, and what it always has been, of lower class people with a lot of debt, just making a little bit more money than the lower class people, but with a lot of debt. So with credit cards, making payments they can't afford, financing and paying over long periods of time. That's all coming to fruition at the same time right now. The entire global economy is cratering right now. They're trying to pump the stock market as much as possible, printing insane amounts of money, talking about raising taxes on everyone while the hidden tax of inflation is going to sideswipe people like crazy soon. Right now we're dealing with deflation because the money isn't actually going into the supply, hence the coin shortage that we're seeing from the mint, not the Fed, from the mint. The allocation of funds are going digitally into the stock market and not into the hands of people, so therefore we're seeing actually deflation rather than inflation, but eventually that money will get into the hands of people on the street, the average person, and that will cause massive inflation. It might be a ways down the line, but we are going to see that eventually. So I'm just wondering how long until people recognize this and realize that danger is so much more. But if you say anything to people, they get angry. Like I said, they resist it. They resist counter narratives because it makes them uncomfortable. So I mentioned, like, they're like talking about, we have to shelter in place, we have to wear a mask, all that stuff. They're so passionate about it. You're like, why do you think so? Well, the TV said, and politicians said. I'm like, okay, so what if I said all these doctors are saying something different? Oh, don't stop talking to me. I don't want to hear it. Just, you're being negative. It's like telling someone negative news. You know those people that are like, oh, that's negative, I don't want to hear about it. Like, you talk about the news around someone and they're like, don't talk about it, it's negative. It's the same with this. It's like, don't talk about anything that's counter to the narrative, even though you might be right. I don't want to hear it. Because people have been trained that way. To be dependent and to be out of sight, out of mind, close their eyes, close their mouth, close their ears, accept whatever they're given. It's sad. It's really sad. And all the people out of work that can't spend money into the economy at all, which will lead to more people out of work, more unemployment. This is a tragedy, my friends. I really hope you guys speak out and don't be afraid to speak out, because it's never been more important to speak out. This Zero Hedge article says Lockdown 2.0 will ensure the U.S. remains in an economic depression through the 2020 election. Long after that, and again, I've been reporting on this since January, and in about February, early March, I was already talking about how they'd initially they would open things up, and then they'd say second wave, and all these places say, see, you're selfish, and they'd re-shut everything down right when people thought they'd have money. Most businesses will be under, most businesses, like the majority of businesses, will be under by December or January because they're running out of cash. I hate to give you only negative news here, but what else can I say? It's going to be negative unless you do something. That's the way it is. Anyway, I'm going to be off of YouTube soon. Of course, you know, our friend Dan Dix of Press for Truth was recently just booted off of YouTube without any reason. No strikes on his account or anything. As you can see, I'm wearing a shirt that says, "The revolution will not be YouTubed." I hope you guys go to our Teespring store and get that shirt, among many others, including one t-shirt I want you guys to all check out here called "I Got a Suntan During Quarantine." It's called Suntan Vitamin D. Make sure to get those shirts and more in our Teespring store on Teespring, of course, and that's linked below. I really appreciate everyone joining us. We were demonetized for going against the World Health Organization, which is now for some reason in the community guidelines on YouTube, even though they're completely corrupt. And by the way, as this recent article says, from the Independent, coronavirus Wuhan lab that researches COVID-19 will not be visited by World Health Organization investigators looking into origin of virus. Epidemiologists to focus only on idea of novel virus naturally jump species. So there you have it, folks. We're being played and messed with, and it's about time we stand up. Anyway, hit that like button, share on social media, join us on flote.app as well as BitChute and Library and Minds. We're on all of the alternatives. Check those links below. Find out ways that you can help fund us. We need it now more than ever, folks, because we are completely demonetized and we're out of money. I'm homeless and I still can't afford to live. It's terrible. So I am passionate about this. I don't do this for money. I do it because I care about the truth. If I was doing it for money, I would have long ago just buckled down and done whatever YouTube told me to do and covered nonsense all day. But this is important. This is a future of free humanity and truth, and it's never been more important to stand up for that, for those principles, those core principles. Also join our newsletter at www.iamband.com. There you can just put in your email address. It takes 2 seconds and you can join us on, we can reach you when things happen. It's super important that we get you guys to sign up for that. Anyway, check those links below. And until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. My friends, it is go time. We are completely demonetized on YouTube, and we depend on the viewer to stay alive and spread the message of freedom and truth. So check those links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, Subscribestar, anything you guys could do to help keep independent media alive helps enormously in helping spread this message to the masses. So make sure to check those links. Donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen or below. We really appreciate anything you could do to keep us alive. You could check those links below for Cointree as well, where you can find other cryptocurrencies that you can donate and keep WAM alive. Find us on flote.app, flote.app, as well as BitChute and Library and Minds. We're on all the other platforms. We are leaving YouTube soon, so make sure to find us at those sites, because it's the only way we can keep talking to you, the masses, the great people that actually care about the future of free humanity. Also, join our new newsletter at www.iamband.com. Anything helps at this point, guys. We need to support free information online. This is the most difficult time in our history, and it takes a lot of hard work to keep our message alive in the face of great evils that have taken over the propaganda news on television as well as on YouTube, where YouTube decides what you can or cannot see. We need your help, my friends. So I really appreciate anything you guys can do. Check those links. There's many ways you can help. Until next time, though, thanks, everyone. This is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.